thank you all very much for being here. And I especially want to thank Cassandra Campbell for providing this great venue for us today. And we're here today to talk about a tax cut for working parents. And this is an incredibly important program. It was part of the COVID relief bill, understanding that we not only had to address the healthcare side of the pandemic, but also the economic side of the pandemic. And while people were laid off from work, people were doing education at home because schools were closed down. This really impacted working families with children tremendously. And we were able in the COVID relief bill to do the childhood tax credit to provide a tax credit, a refundable tax credit for parents at $250 a child per month. And if your children were younger than 6 years old, that amount of money is $300 per child per month. Families that make $75,000 or individuals who make $75,000 qualify for this. Heads of household, $112,000 a year, they qualify. And married filing jointly, you qualify at $150,000 a year. And I want to point out that this tax cut for working parents who have families, it is transformational. This will do more good than just about anything imaginable. The economic experts, the economists tell us that this provision in the law will cut childhood poverty in half. And that's a tremendous accomplishment to be able to address childhood poverty to this degree. In our district alone, there will be 9,000 families who will be able to benefit from this. 39 million families nationwide. And in our district, 130,000 children will benefit by this tax cut. It will help lift them out of poverty, and it will also provide monthly monies to their parents, monies that they will be able to spend on their kids. They'll be able to buy groceries, pay rent, make sure that their kids can have access to summer school provisions. As you know, a lot of kids, distance learning, there's some making up to do. This will help. They'll be able to spend it in enrolling their kids in after-school athletic programs. This is just a tremendous benefit to kids. And so I'm grateful that we're here with a good group of folks who want to provide testimony as to how important this is for the people within their work environment. First, we're going to hear from Charles Miller, who's the superintendent at John Sweat Unified School District. Then we'll hear next from Rebecca Barrett, who is with the Contra Costa County Boys and Girls Club. Then John Jones, who is the executive director of Cocoa Kids. And Josephine Orozco, who is with the Bayfront Chamber of Commerce and a small business owner. And Kirsten Faulkner, who is a parent. Everyone who's going to speak has important testimony as to how critical this program is. It is a one-year program right now. We want to make sure that we expand this tax credit so parents of working parents will be able to have this help moving forward. This should be a permanent provision in our tax code. And we'll hear from Charles Miller, the superintendent of John Sweat Unified School District.
All right. Thank you, Congressman. Greetings. I'm Charles Miller. I serve as the superintendent in the John Sweat Unified School District. And our community is approximately 60% socioeconomically disadvantaged households. And one of the things that we have noticed is that our families have been disproportionately impacted by the pandemic. So many of our families have been subject to displacement, loss of work, challenges with finances, putting food on the table. It's been a tough go for many, many of our families. So, we see this widening of the haves and has not being closed by the tax credit. Because one of the things that we know is that when conditions in the home improve, learning improves and achievement goes up. And so when we see the tax credit providing that stability, we're already seeing some of the benefits of our families being ready to get their children back in school and going. One of the features of the tax credit that we're seeing as a true benefit is the cyclical monthly nature of the payment. That when the parents can rely on a regular payment, it creates an even increased sense of stability. And stability is what kids need. They thrive on stability. When they have a stable environment, their achievement again goes up. Direct benefits that we're seeing will come from this. Back to school shopping. Our parents right now are getting clothes on their kids, getting ready to go back to school. Kids have not been in school for 16 months, right? They've outgrown their school clothes. They're ready to get new clothes, and they're going shopping for that. The tax credit makes that possible. Materials and supplies, backpacks, shoes on their feet, sports equipment. All of those things are critical for our students as we restart schools. It'll help them return with a sense of pride and preparedness for school. All of our parents put their kids first. Every parent from every walk of life, every socioeconomic circumstance puts their children first. And this benefit, we believe, will help to contribute towards their ability to do just that. Thank you.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Thank you, Congressman, and thank you, Superintendent. My name is Rebecca Barrett, and I work for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Contra Costa. We primarily serve within this congressional district. We serve the kids of Martinez, Pinole, El Sobrante, and now also Richmond. When the Congressman talks about this tax credit helping 130,000 children within this congressional district, I want to talk to you about one of those kids. It's one of those kids that comes to the Boys and Girls Club. And we just saw him for the first time in 16 months this Friday when we had our open house and parent orientation. This kid, I won't say his name because he's a teenager now, and teenagers think all things adults do are lame, so I'm sure he wouldn't want me saying his name, but this teenager is about to start high school. And before COVID, his family was struggling. And he was one of those kids that dropped off our radar. We did online programming, we did school supplies and food support to families all across Contra Costa, but we could not get a hold of this club kid's parent, no matter how hard we tried. And he walked by the clubhouse on his way back from getting his high school schedule for the first time ever, and he saw the door was open and he popped in. And he started talking to us, and one of the things that he let us know is that his mother's car has been repossessed, and that we should stop trying to call his mom because his mother's cell phone has been turned off because she can't afford the bill. Unemployment in Contra Costa tripled during the peak of COVID, and it has still not gotten back to pre-COVID levels. This child tax credit provides so much stability for parents who are only trying to make ends meet and look out for their children's own best interests. It will make a real impact. That $300 could go to help pay that cell phone bill, to help pay that car payment, so that mother could drive her kids to school, or could have a cell phone, which is a lifeline for figuring out additional supports for your child, for communicating with teachers. It really amazes me how much COVID really decimated the community that we served. But also, the thing that I don't want us to lose sight of is that things were not great before COVID either. This teenager's mother was struggling before COVID. Her family was on our food support program before COVID. Really, all COVID did was really show that how on the edge a lot of families in Contra Costa are. When you miss 1 month, 2 months of salary, you can't afford rent, you can't afford groceries, you can't afford your cell phone bill. And so that little breather that Congress has provided with the child tax credit really can help just provide some stability, some breathing room to our families. And so we're so grateful to see Congress doing something that actually has a long-term actual impact on families. I think a lot of people sometimes think things in DC are complicated or don't really trickle down to regular people, and this is something that is really concrete that families can hold on to and see every day. So thank you so much, Congressman. And as far as the fight for expanding this, like I said, families were struggling before COVID. This is great as part of a COVID relief package, but to really solve childhood poverty, this is something you need to make permanent. So we're ready to help in any way we can. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
Thank you, Congressman. My name is John Jones. I'm the Executive Director of Cocoa Kids, which is the Child Care Resource and Referral Agency in Contra, Costa, and we also provide child care subsidies for low-income families. I think a lot of the stories that you've heard today are critical in terms of serving families who have been, unfortunately, as all of us have been affected by COVID. The child tax credit, this is a tax cut I can totally get behind. You know, you always hear tax credit, and I never know anybody who's actually included in those. This one, everybody I know is included in it. It's going to make a tremendous impact. One of the critical needs in our county, as well as our country, is childcare. Childcare tends to be the second highest expense for any family. For some families, it's the highest expense. And the tax credit will help lower the cost of families so they can actually afford to return to work. In the Bay Area, particularly in Contra Costa, it's real vital that most households have dual earners. It's really hard for a single parent struggling. It's just as hard for two parents trying to get by. So in order for those two parents to work, they need childcare. And so this will provide them a greater access to childcare. The other feature that this credit will help are small businesses. Childcare providers are probably the foundation of small business in our country. In Contra Costa, we have over 1,000 childcare providers who are individuals or small centers that are locally owned and will benefit by having families be able to re-enroll so they can attend and participate in the workforce. So this is a win-win for everybody. It's going to strengthen the economy. It's going to give people the opportunity to provide for their families, and it's just the right thing to do. So this is it's critical that, you know, 12 months goes by really quick. So continue this indefinitely. It's nothing but a win-win for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Josephine?
Thank you, Congressman. My name is Josephine Orozco. I'm a local business owner. We own a restaurant in Rodeo called El Sol. I'm also director for the Bayfront Chamber of Commerce, who services Panola, Hercules, and Rodeo. I'd like to support the tax relief for families because our philosophy, our business philosophy is if we give into the community, the families, the children, then that comes right back to us. It circulates through the economy of the business owners, families, schools, programs. So we really do support that. We've run our business that way. We've always given to get, and that's what we believe in. The Bayfront Chamber of Commerce members also share that philosophy. So if with this tax relief and this extra funding that families get, it will also be regenerated back into our economy, which has been suffering for the last 2 years, 3 years. So I'd like to thank you, and I'd like to encourage everybody to support this as a continuing entity.
Thank you. Kirsten?
Thank you, Congressman. Hi, my name is Kirsten Faulkner, and I'm a parent in Contra Costa County. I have an 18-year-old daughter. Me and my partner both work at local children nonprofits, and even though we make a good living, we still struggle to provide our child with either diapers or clothes, as she's constantly growing, as most children do nowadays. We really support this just because it's something that's going to be beneficial for us and our child over time. The $300 is definitely something that we look forward to every month because whether it's taking our daughter to go to childcare or taking her to the grocery store, that's something that we need gas for. So we really do support it, and we hope that this can continue and that we're able to use the money going forward. So thank you, Congressman, and all that you do.
Thank you. Well, thank you. You all did an excellent job explaining how important this program is for so many in our community and our community as a whole. It's a great program. As I say, it's transformational. It will move kids out of poverty, and that's a pretty laudable goal. To be able to say that we have lifted half of the children in America out of poverty by passing this one change in the tax code. It's incredibly important. We need to keep it going. So thank you very much.